Hi folks, you're with Tacitus today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this audio radio live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about divorce and the destructive effects on divorce to Western society. Is divorce law and the laws that are all across the Western world now there to protect women and children, as the politicians disingenuously claim, or is it simply an aggressive wealth transfer from men to women, and also the humiliation and bankrupting of men, particularly straight white men? And if you've been through the divorce courts, you see the divorce court apparatchiks that are all very pro-globalist. They take a much more interest in going after straight white men than they do going after black and brown or Asian men. So, but anyway, I do a fair bit of jogging and trying to stay fit and so on. I'm going around my jogging circuit, and there's a guy that I know more just to chat to as I go around, but he's doing some extensions on his house, so he sort of weighed me down so he could brag about how fantastic the extensions are going, and then just where we were, in fact, just directly across the road from his place is some other people that I know. Oh, well, just really to say hello to, and wasn't it a nice day, that sort of thing, exchange basic pleasantries. But they've got a kid, they're like 4 or 5 years old or something like that, a boy, and he's explaining or trying to explain to, this is while I'm standing here talking about the extension, he's trying to explain to a friend of his who's about the same age, another boy, 4 or 5 years old, about why his dad doesn't live there anymore. And it's difficult. He knows it's so factually it's correct, but the other kid asks him, well, why isn't your dad there anymore? Where has he gone? And the kid's, my mummy doesn't want him to be here. Well, why not? Why is he? And the kid couldn't explain it, and the other kid couldn't understand it, nor would you expect them to at that age, by the way. But it brought home the in my view at least, the wider social tragedy that the handling, or I would allege mishandling, of divorce brings about in the Western world. Now, I know the couple well enough that she's one of these women that just can't get on with anybody, and so she has attracted, as I understand it, she's gone about attracting a man of, I need a man to sort everything out for me. I'm just a little girl that can't manage in the big wide bad world. I want a man to look after me and protect me and help me, and all this sort of stuff. And will you be the big, strong, hairy-chested man that will do all that for me? And there's quite a few men that go for that sort of stuff because they perceive that if they do those things, that they'll be appreciated, and they'll be able to, what they do is needed and wanted, appreciated, valued, all that sort of stuff. So they go for women like that. Now, I'm the opposite. Any woman like that is a professional, in my view, a professional victim, and it will be nothing but trouble as time goes on. Now, sure enough, in this case, she decides that, hey, I can get a free house, and so he's got this quite diligent, conscientious, careful with money sort of guy, and she's managed to, after, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years, something like that, she's managed to score herself a free house. So she's done okay out of this, and she's got rid of him on the basis that he's violent and an oppressor and so on. Now, she's able, of course, to do this without any evidence. Just her allegation alone is enough, and that's it. And I think he just got sick of the drama, the endless dramas, the threats, the accusations, and so on. So I don't know if she's actually fully got the house yet, or whether it's still working its way through the courts, but my understanding, listening to the neighbourhood gossip, is it's a done deal or close to it. Nonetheless, it was. I thought. I mean, it was a bit gut wrenching actually, trying to watch that kid explain it to the other kid, and they were behind me as I was talking to the guy, and I heard it, so I looked around and thought, "You've got to be kidding me." I mean, does this sort of thing go on? I mean, who would think this was good for society? I mean, nobody would say this is good for society. Now, this is only one example of I think, many hundreds of thousands that are going on around the country, and the many millions that go on around the Western world, fully aided, abetted, assisted, funded, and encouraged by the government that stacks the entire divorce industry with radical leftist activists. Now that was one in another instance that's nearby again in the neighbourhood, and this was, you know, someone I know introduced me to this guy, but it's he's got divorced. He was telling me about the travails that he went through. Now he makes he gets paid like double, has to work hard for it, double what his ex-wife does. Now she got a free house, fully furnished with a car, so she's done very well out of this. And that's all his money. His parents gave them the deposit to buy the place, and it's pretty much all paid off, and that's through his hard work. She works, but she's quite spendthrift. So he says, and I don't doubt it. So then she decides that he gets to pay all the school stuff and a lot of extras, but because they get a week about, you know, kids are with him for two boys, kids with him 1 week, and with her the other week. So and because of that, and because she got the free house, the deal was he didn't have to pay her child support, so he can try and rebuild his life and rebuild his wealth. She decides that he should be paying her child support as well as the school fees and other you know, expenses, and still have them a week about. And she wants him to take them for extra time because she's got some new man in her life or something. So he refuses to pay the child support. They've got an agreement. He's sticking to the agreement. She drags him back into the divorce court, the family court. She gets free legal aid. He says to the judge, you know, hey, look, we've got an agreement. Here it is in writing. Everybody signed it, and even the court approved it, and so on. Don't care. You're making a pretty decent salary, so you can still pay her child support. Now, the child support was something like $15,000 for the year. And again, he's making about double what she is, but or was making. He's changed his circumstances. So he's got a $15,000 a year. Now, when you look at as he did the calculation, he looks at the tax he's paying on the extra money, and then he looks at the money he's got to pay her, and because the house is in a kind of nice area, he wants to be close to the kids in the school and all that sort of stuff. So he's got to pay higher rent on this property and so on. So he looked at that and he said, well, he's telling me about this, that if he cuts his income down to be about the same income as she gets, then he won't have to pay any child support, and he's just not going to meet the expenses of a private school, and he's not going to meet any of the other out-of-pocket expenses. He's going to move further away to a cheaper accommodation, which is where he is now. And so the society and the economy loses a hardworking, go-ahead guy who's, you know, working longer hours at a knowledge-intensive type employment. So he throws all that in to really, you know, become like a junior administration clerk, really, and just so he can have the same income as her. Now, when he looks at the money involved in this, he says he's not worse off because he doesn't have to pay the $15,000, and he's making less money, and therefore he's on a lower tax bracket. He's not meeting the private school fees, or, you know, the other stuff that he was doing. So he's actually slightly better off, and he reckons about the same, you know, a few dollars extra in his pocket, and he's got a lot less stress of wondering, just because he makes money, that when will she attack him next? Because all the organs of government, and he's noticed, all the organs of government are there to help her. Nothing about his legal rights or this sort of stuff. But it's for the children. It's for the children. Yeah, sure it is. So this is again a situation where the children lose the private school. She's not getting the child support, so she's trying to offload them on him even more than she was before. Now the place he's renting is it's about the smallest place in the neighbourhood, and pretty ordinary, and it's very sparsely furnished. The guy doesn't have the money to do it, so he thinks rather than make decent money but have it all taken from him, why doesn't he just make ordinary money? At least he can keep it. At least he gets to decide what's happened. And the thing that sort of gets me about this is that there's no attempt by the divorce industry to seek his agreement. This is why you need to do it, or you should, because there's no, at least like globalization, there is no compelling argument to put forward to say why it should be so. So they have to use threat, coercion, threat of imprisonment, garnishing wages, and all sorts of terrorism against the man, because why should anyone be convinced they have to be fleeced financially? That's it's an unsaleable gig. So now he's effectively withdrawn from society. He just, no, screw you. If that's how you're going to treat me, screw you. Now, how many tens of millions of men across the Western world are in that position? Now he's a nice guy, not a bad looking dude and everything. But he thinks it's too dangerous for him to have a relationship with a woman for anything, if it's casual sex or something, that's fine. But anything beyond that, for fear that when he's now seen just how many rights women have and how men have zero rights in any sort of gender conflict, he thinks it's just too dangerous. They'll find a way of stealing my money somehow, and they'll be assisted and aided and abetted by the state, and the state will meet those expenses for them. So this is a tragedy too. But I think it goes to the heart of the matter, that if there's an area that needs modification and review, then this is it. Now, 70% of divorces are initiated by women. They get the free house and all the other stuff, the child support. Between 15 and 20% are supposedly mutual, which I think is really code speak for she goaded him and threatened him until he agreed, or made life difficult enough that he's, oh, fine, screw you then. And 10% initiated by men. Now, I've spoken to some women about this, but they go back to the days of sort of 1950s and even earlier than that to say how bad it once was. Now, I'm not sure I agree with the way they depict it, of being some terrible horror story and marriage was a caged hell for women and all this sort of stuff, which is a view mostly put about by Jewish lesbians. But the material point, as I see it at least, is that there's been no attempt to produce a system that works, or that could say delivers on the outcome that would be most optimal. Instead, it's the man is bad. He's the guy. He abandons them. He's the one who abandons the poor little woman and the children, shivering and shaking in the cold. Evil creatures all around them. We have to make sure that those fucking men are held to account. Those Nazis are held to account, and that's really what seems to be driving it. There's no reality. It's all ideological. You've been fantastic today. Your Pushback channel. Thank you for listening.